Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about one and done eyeshadow looks. I go through phases with my makeup where I'll do something and I'll enjoy it so much that I just want to keep doing it, and this is my current phase that I'm in. And the way that this all started was when I bought the Jason Wu Matte Agave palette, and this was the first part of the phase, was matte eyeshadows. I bought this and I just loved it so much. And at first I started playing around with using like all different combinations. Then as the days went by, I started taking like just one eyeshadow and putting it all over, on the lids, in the crease, and underneath the lash line, and then got tired of that and started using more colorful things. Like in yesterday's video, I had on just one single eyeshadow from a brand that unfortunately they don't sell anymore, called In Studio Cosmetics. And that was all I had on, was just that one eyeshadow. And then today I went into the Profusion Emeralds palette and I have on the shade Juniper. And that's all I have on. And I just feel like, I don't know, sometimes more simple is better. Because sometimes the more you try to do on your eyes, the more complicated it gets. And then you can deal with issues of eyeshadows not necessarily blending well together, because depending on the quality of the eyeshadow, that may or may not be the case. That's how you can kind of tell how good something is. If the shadows don't layer well together, you can run into problems if it's not good quality. Another problem you can have when you start layering all your eyeshadows together is some colors don't mesh. Some color combinations, when you try to add one color over another one, it's going to create another color that's just going to end up looking muddy. So I just wanted to give you a few little tips about which things I think lend themselves best to one and done eyeshadows and which things do sometimes but not always. Okay, the easiest thing to do a one and done eyeshadow with that is gonna look beautiful and it's gonna look like you spent a lot of time doing your eye makeup when you didn't, is duochromes or multichromes. This is just an example. This is ColourPop Glass Bowl. I wanted this for the longest time, but it was always out of stock. I finally got it, and you can see when I tilt my hand that you can see like green and red. Yeah, I'm gonna say green and red, but it kind of looks like green and brown too. But anyways, when you put this on your eyes, if you just put it on your lids and then put it in the crease and do whatever eye shape you're into with your eyeshadow, yeah, it's gonna look like you have multiple eyeshadows on and that you spent a lot of time blending, when really it's just this one eyeshadow. So duochromes and also multichromes are the same way. Another thing that I think always looks good when you're doing a one and done eyeshadow is matte eyeshadows. There are a couple of exceptions that I wouldn't do. White and black are the first thing that comes to mind. Those aren't really going to look good as a one and done eyeshadow, but any kind of color will. Although I have had problems with pastels, trying to do a one and done with pastels. Sometimes it can just come off looking very chalky and washed out. So yeah, I would, if you stay away from white, black, and pastels, I think you'll be fine with pretty much anything else for a one and done eyeshadow. And you have to take your skin tone into consideration too. If you have very, very light skin, you might want to stay away from the deepest shades, and the reverse would be true. If you have a very deep skin tone, you probably want to stay away from the light shades, because if they make me look washed out, they're probably going to look chalky on a deeper skin tone. What else? Okay, when it comes to shimmery eyeshadows, sometimes one and done's with a shimmery shadow looks good and sometimes it doesn't. For me, that is very much trial and error. One thing that I don't have anymore in my collection that I used to love for that was Maybelline Color Tattoo and Bad to the Bronze. That always looked pretty as a one and done eyeshadow. What else? MAC Satin Taupe Pressed Powder Eyeshadow. It's a frost finish, but something about that color, when it's on your lids, it looks like one thing, and then when you have it in the crease area as well, it creates like this shadow that makes it look like a different color. It's really pretty, and I think that's why Satin Taupe got to be so popular back in the day, because it does have that effect when you put it all over the eyes. Let's see, what else? Yeah, shimmers in general, you have to kind of be careful because some things are just gonna look like a big mess if you try to put them on the lids and the crease. So it's best to kind of play around with this if you don't have anywhere in particular that you have to be or go. You don't want to do something with shimmer that you haven't tried before, because it may not work out the way you think it will. But yeah, if I feel like the things that I mentioned at the beginning are pretty safe, like mattes and duochromes, multichromes. Let's see, what else? Another thing you can do if you're just looking for a really simple look is you can take any matte bronzer that you have in your collection, run that through your crease, and then put any eyeshadow that you want, really, on your lids. Something that would be complementary to the bronze color, like anything in the warm tone family, or anything from that side of the color spectrum. But you can even get away with cool tone shadows depending on what you put with it. And I feel like shimmer shadows especially look really nice with that look. So that's something else that you can do that's just simple, that doesn't take a lot of effort, that's almost like you can't go wrong type situation. Another thing you can do for a really simple get out the door eye look is if you have a cool contour in your collection that leans like super cool, almost like gray, you can run that through the crease and then put any cool toned eyeshadow on your lid and you'll be good to go. I just grabbed this out of my drawer here. This is a Flower Beauty Cream eyeshadow, and it's in the shade I Lilac You a Lot. And this is what I'm talking about. Something cool tone like this, you can just run your contour through your crease and then just pop this on the lids. And because it's cream, it's going to be fast, easy, and yeah, so that would be like the opposite end of the spectrum from using the bronzer, which is going to warm things up. The contour, if it's got a grayish cast to it, is going to cool things down. So hopefully I've given you some ideas for really simple, easy eye looks, because sometimes we don't want it to be complicated. Sometimes we don't want it to take a lot of time. And I think that, you can get into a rut doing the same thing all the time, and then it's time to move on to something else. So this is a phase that I'm in right now. It's just using matte one and done eyeshadow looks, and I've been having a lot of fun doing this, and who knows how long I'm going to get stuck in this phase. But I'm sure that you noticed something weird going on here. I feel like I should talk about it because somebody's probably gonna ask me what in the world is going on back there on that shelf. Well, I realized this morning that my bulletin board fits perfectly in that spot. And what I did was I took all my Amuse single shadows that come in, little plastic containers, and then I took my push pins and I sort of anchored them onto the board, and then I put the names of what each one was right underneath it. And the reason why I did that is because, have you ever heard the expression out of sight, out of mind? I love those shadows, and I want to start using them more often, and I have them in a lot of colors right now. And so I thought if I did that, maybe I would reach for them more often because I really like them. Those are from shopmissy.com. They're only $1, so you can't go wrong. And then I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to put the bulletin board there with the single shadows, I might as well put everything else I own by Amuse on display too. These palettes right here, the 3 that look alike, I love those palettes, and they're $1, and you get, what, 5. You get 5 shades in a palette, and very, very surprisingly good. And then this right here is a pressed pigment, and they used to have those in a bunch of colors, and then over time they just started disappearing and they didn't restock them. And at the end of when those were available, that was the only one that they had left. So my other ones had pretty much reached their expiration date. So I reordered the one and only one that was left, and it's like a lime green shade. And then that right there, that's actually also a single shadow, but I wanted to have this all like symmetrical in rows and everything, and if I put that with those, it would have messed it up and it just wouldn't have made it look as organized or as nice. And then I have a couple other palettes. There's one right there and there's one over here. But that's everything that I own by Amuse Cosmetics from shopmissy.com. So I like to switch up the shelf unit frequently, just to make it a little more interesting. Somebody was asking me, where's your dolls? How come, did you get rid of them? No, I didn't get rid of them. Actually, all my Rainbow High dolls, with the exception of those 2, are on the top shelf of the bookcase, so you can't see it in the camera frame. But I took these 2 that I had over here on top of some other drawers. I took them off and put them back over here because they are really pretty and they should be on display. There's a bunch of new Rainbow High dolls that they have at the stores now, but I don't want to get them because I really don't have any more room to display them or put them. I have so many dolls now that, but oh boy, there's some really pretty ones. The Bella Parker one is a peach theme, and she's so pretty, and her outfit is really nice. But there's a whole bunch of others too. They have a Rainbow High doll that's a guy, and they have more of a variety of skin tones now, and they have like a special cheer series where they're all cheerleaders, and yeah, there's tons to pick from. And you can see those at Walmart or Target. They have a big section for those. So anyway, that's it for today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it to be helpful. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Thanks for watching.